And Charlotte, talk about this time off. I mean, has it been frustrating for you not to be able to be in that ring?
It's been frustrating, but I tried to make it a positive thing. And I guess, reevaluating. It's not that, it's never a good time to take time off. But if I had to pick a time, I guess during the summer before, I feel like right around the corner, we're going to build to WrestleMania again, and maybe a refresh for my character, I guess, having a couple of weeks off. I know it doesn't seem like that long, but in our world, it's very long. But I think the hardest part is knowing that the show goes on without you. I think that's what's more frustrating, is watching it and you're just like, I want to be in that storyline, or, I want to be stealing the card on a Tuesday night. So, but I know it was good. My body needed it. So I'm just ready to get back and start where I left off.
Well, the women's division, if you will, is, I think, in my opinion, and I'm saying this because it might be a little bit jaded and when I say it, but I think a lot of it is because of a lot of the work that you put in. And I told you a long time ago that you'll be able to rest on your own laurels, not on what your dad did. And when I watch you work, I don't see your dad. I see you as an individual. And a lot of people, they were expecting, I think, that you were going to be this carbon copy of doing everything your dad did and, doing reenacting everything. I mean, the woo is a birthright, but the rest of it is all you. Did you intentionally try to make it that you didn't do the stereotypical Flair repertoire?
I mean, play on words, but honestly, it's just been an evolution of my character. I went from being told not to woo and not to do anything like my dad when I first started, and then having my dad manage me for the NXT Women's Championship against Natalya. I just wooed on, not command, but almost it just came natural in the moment with my dad being out there. And then when I first debuted, I really didn't do it a lot or strut. But when I turned into a bad guy, when my dad was my manager on the main roster, it just was an easy way to antagonize the fans. And then getting to flip sides again after WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, it was a way to interact with the fans. So it's not that I'm going, I want to do X, Y, Z because of my dad. It's just kind of, I just see where the interest lies in what I'm doing in the ring. If, what gets a crowd reaction and what doesn't. And right now it just, the strut and the woo plays along. And obviously I feel like the robes have taken my character to the next level because, one, they don't necessarily look like my dad, but they're a play on my dad. And it's enhanced my character so much, I feel like. I feel like people are like, what robe is she going to wear next? I can't wait. What color? So
I like the peacock one myself.
Oh, thank you. No, that's
that was awesome.
Yeah. So it's just, it's not that I'm like, okay, I just want to be just like my dad. It's just at certain times in the last few years, things have just come naturally or been placed in my repertoire the way just how it plays out. Like I've done the Flair face bump on live events, but I've been very careful not to put that on TV on Tuesday nights just because of my role. Like it's
right.
More of a ha-ha moment. So
and you're not ha-ha.
I'll add that.
Plus, there's a generation of fans, Mark, you know this, that, when they hear Flair, they think of Charlotte. And, like you look at a younger generation of fans, and obviously the WWE is appealing to everyone. There's probably a lot of fans that watch SmackDown and see Charlotte Flair. When they think of Flair, they don't think of like a 46-year-old Dave LaGreca thinking of Ric Flair. They think immediately of Charlotte.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Charlotte how did she feel about the reaction from the other talent about your performance at WrestleMania with Oscar?
Oh, I think everyone was extremely happy for me in the moment, and the entrance was cool. And for me, it was having a few of the guys that I respect a lot come up to me at TV the following week and just saying, like, hey, that was a really great match. That's, what meant a lot to me, because I feel like the women are always, seeking the men's approval or what they thought, or, like when we had the ladder match at the last pay-per-view, obviously we wanted to outdo the boys. So that just always feels good having, fellow talent tell you that you did a great job.
And to see,
but most importantly, that Vince thinks you did a great job.
and I'm sure he's extremely pleased. And, Mark and I started today's show, of course, talking about Evolution and the all-women's pay-per-view that we're going to see October 28th here in New York. And, when you first heard that, now, is it your goal to make sure come October you're in the main event at that pay-per-view?
Oof. I'm still thinking of SummerSlam right now. I want to be the main event, but again, it's an all women's pay-per-view and the card is extremely stacked. And if people pay close attention, it's then, now, and forever. So I think we will have women, from the past. Obviously, Lita and Trish are confirmed, but no one knows what role they'll be playing, as well as NXT being involved. So my competitive nature, I want to be the main event, but knowing that I shouldn't be disappointed because there is going to be so much brilliant talent on the show that night.
Go ahead, Mark.
I second that.
Okay.
There definitely will be a lot of unbelievable talent on the card. I hope in all the world of worlds that the WWE reaches out to Gail Kim. She's one of my favorites. And I'm not saying that because we're friends. I'm saying that from a professional talent standpoint. There's very few women that have put the psychology into their matches and the storytelling like Gail has. And, I just really, really hope that there are people that are outside of the other companies that can respect what the WWE is enough to say, hey, we want we'll pay them, but we want our women's champion to be involved in something like that, because it just means a lot for the world of women's wrestling, not just the WWE. The Tessa Blanchards of the world, there's several really, really high-level female wrestlers out there in the world. I hope Jazz is able to come back and experience this, and people that have opened the doors and paved the way for that to happen. And, I think it should be cross-branded. I think that all women should be included and not just WWE, because I think it would make even more impact for people to go back to their specific places in the world of women's wrestling, knowing that they were a part of a movement of something that was bigger than wrestling. And I think that that's what's going to happen. It's going to be bigger than wrestling.
Wow. And I agree with you, Mark.
It is much better. Yeah.
And Charlotte, with everything that you've done over the last year, and you had the book with your dad, ESPN the magazine, stealing the show at WrestleMania. What are you most proud of over these last 12 months?
Ooh. I guess I'd have to say my match with Asuka, because I felt there was a lot of pressure. The match wasn't extremely long, but it was exactly what was needed. and I really felt like I made an impact that night. Not that I hadn't already, but I don't know. I think that was definitely, I had worked so hard on what needed to go into that match and moments and, switching things up a little bit. And I, committing to the babyface role, which I'm not as comfortable in as being a bad guy, which I think now I've settled into it, but it's still, a work in progress.
People don't want to boo you, Charlotte. That's the problem.
No,
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much as a good guy that I feel like if I ever get to go back bad again, that I could be 10 times a performer, because now I know specifically what the other side needs. Like if I could go back and redo all of my matches with Sasha, because I felt like she was ahead of me mentally in the game. I just was still, I still had a lot to learn. If I could go back and redo my first year, I would redo it in a heartbeat, because there's so many things I would have changed and done better. So they would have to boo me because I would know what to do.
Well, that's why we have tomorrow. The
Yes.
anticipation of tomorrow and knowing what we did can help us where we're going. That's why I tell every wrestler that I mentor, that I talk to, like, know the history, because it'll help you with the future. And
Yes.
you understand that because I've seen you study. I've watched you develop. And the subtleties of the match is what people may not even realize why they like the match the way they like the match. The fact that your arm was injured in the match and you finished that match without using that arm. And
Yes, that was like such a, I just hope people really took that in, because I wanted that story, and where it took like every last bit of me to beat someone like Asuka.
Yeah.
'Cause she was,
And I'm really proud of what I saw. And I told you this already, but I when we were fortunate to be together in Seattle for the Unified Games
Yes.
for the Special Olympics, that I couldn't wait for you to get back, because that's what I miss about. And you mentioned Sasha. Sasha is a brilliant psychologist, and there's no wasted motion. If she does something, it sets up something, or something's going to be used in that thing, and you do that very well. And I miss that, and I think more of the women should adopt that philosophy.
and I think they do. I just think I'm so vocal about it. I think that it's something that I've been, I just constantly, tell people, I just want to get better. I just want to get better. So I think all the women, think about it. I just don't know. They just might not be as vocal about it.
I got a question for you. How cool was it, the reaction that you got at the Special Olympics when you came out and they roared like, man, I'm telling you, it was deafening. Like, how good did that feel, honestly? Just
It felt good. It was special. That was a great day. It's an honor to work with the Special Olympics athletes, and knowing how excited they were and the week of events that they had scheduled, I was just happy to be able to be a part of their excitement that day.
It was really great. You got to come out with the whole Carolina team, the North Carolina team, as I did with Texas. What did you come away with that feeling?
So this was a funny thing. I had to give North Carolina a shout out, because I brought out the Florida team because of the Performance Center, in which it's so torn, because Florida feels like home still, even though I'm in North Carolina. But North Carolina, I got to fly with them. They were on my flight on the way there, so I got to give them all hugs and at least a shout out at the coaches pep rally. But it felt good, and especially, to let them know that as much as they are fans of us, we are fans of them, and just giving them the support back that they show us week after week after week.
Do you like doing the media, like doing shows like this and going to special events like Seattle?
Well, she likes doing this show, Mark. We know that.
Well.
No, I mean, I do. I think that the more shows I've been a part of and gotten more comfortable, it's helped me on the mic, especially being a babyface, because I've learned, like, it's okay just to be me. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. And especially doing the ESPYs last week and presenting, I just was so excited, especially walking the red carpet with my dad after 32. And no one knowing, who I was. They were asking if I was Rick's wife, Rick's fiance. I'm like, dude, I'm carrying the brand new women's championship. Hello. So I went from that to having the opportunity to present. And I was like, dang, I've come a long way in 2 years. So, no, I love doing it all. And it allows me to, represent the company, the WWE and the women's division, in different outlets. So it's great.
Well, I want to go on record as saying I thought your dress was amazing, and it was good to see you in clothes. Being that the last time I saw you was in a magazine and you had no clothes.
So I made sure to be fully covered. For that fact, I was like, well, I can do it both ways. I can be totally nude or totally covered. So I went.
Tell us how you felt about that. Like, explain the process that went behind you being in that featured in that magazine.
So I always, it was the 10th issue. So for the last couple years, it's always been my favorite issue. Just looking at the athletes and seeing, the beauty in strength and athleticism and muscles and the confidence. So I always was able to relate to it being an athlete and not always feeling like, oh, I've got muscles, I got broad shoulders, but I have no hips, but I got strong legs. Like, it was a dream of mine, and knowing that a wrestler had never had the opportunity to be featured, I was like, that's a bucket list. And when I had found out in the spring, I just was so ecstatic because it was an opportunity for a whole different audience to see an athlete and a female and not someone that's eye candy. I hope that the image helps legitimize what we do. Like, whoa, the Divas division kind of has changed. If someone hasn't been aware of what the women's division in WWE is doing, they might see like, wow, that chick looks like an athlete. Like,
well, thank you, Charlotte.
That was the goal.
Well, I mean,
that was awesome.
That was awesome. And Charlotte, I said it before you came on, and I'll say it right now. I think you're the best in the world. And I know people use that as their slogan, but you truly are. And I remember the last time we interviewed you mentioned your brother. And I'll say this, for somebody who enjoys your work, I'm sure your brother's looking down at you right now with a smile from ear to ear as how proud he is, because you truly are the best in the world.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. No pressure or anything.